Ooh, got a bit of a shine going there. Makeup! Hello everyone, I'm Father Aaron. Welcome to the Dungeon Master! Today we're going to do something different. Today, instead of a recap of an adventure, I'm going to do a question and answer session. The questions were already asked in the comments section and in some emails. You can ask questions if you want to, but I can't hear you. If you have one, put it in the comments down below for the next question and answer session someday. Anyhow, I try to reply to every comment left. If I haven't replied to one of yours, it's because I didn't see it somehow. It's not because I don't care or whatever. I at least like or acknowledge in some way that I've seen it. But some of the questions I thought might be things that other people wonder, and, well, I thought I'd answer them. So, the list. All right, I'm old enough I need to do this now. All right. What is the hex map program that I use for the map? That was asked a number of times. It is actually from hextml.place. You know what? I'll include the link in the description down below. It's really quite a good hex map program. I like it. The rivers and roads are a little clunky. I mean, if you're going to drag and drop something pretty much straight, it's fine. You can do a few turns. It's really hard to edit a road or a river once it's down. It's kind of, okay, undo it and redo. Which is why my rivers and my roads are sort of, straight with a couple of curves here and there. If I was doing it, drawing it manually, there'd be a lot more twisting and winding in the rivers at least. But you know what? For a free online resource, it's pretty good. I really like the fact that you can upload your own icons. So that you can, if you design something particular, like the Barrow-Wight's tomb, I uploaded a little icon that I made in paint or whatever. I uploaded that for the Barrow-Wight's tomb. You can do your own stuff as well, so that's kind of cool. Next question. How often are you playing and how long are the sessions? So when we started, I did the one game and I thought, well, there we go, now we've played. The boys liked it, so they wanted to play again, and they kept asking, can we play again, can we play again? And eventually I wrote another one, we played again, and then it was back to pestering, when can we play again, when can we play again? And after we had got my wife playing as well, she said, we need to have a schedule. Right, so it became Sundays at 3 for D&D. So every Sunday afternoon, we've gotten back from church, we have lunch and all that kind of good stuff, and then we have an adventure at 3 o'clock on Sundays. And they generally last about 2 hours long. That's about the longest we can play, because at 5 o'clock my wife starts making dinner, and of course that means she's not there at the table playing. A couple of times she said, we've been near the end of something or right in the middle of something, and she said, okay, keep going, I'll listen in, because we play in the at the kitchen table. Said, I'll listen in and you just roll the dice for me, I'll tell you what I want to do. Okay. But generally speaking, we wrap up by 5 o'clock. Plus, with little kids, I've got a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old, especially the 6-year-old. By 2 hours, they're losing focus. Speaking of kids, a couple questions about that. How do kids find using different dice? And what do you think the challenges are of running a game for children? So, the focus is one challenge. They can't do a 4-hour campaign or whatever. Another one is dealing with the danger element. Now, as I've said in at least one of the videos, I do pull punches on this, okay? I'm not gonna kill off their characters. They don't know that, though. And so they still perceive danger. In fact, my middle boy is convinced. Every game, he's convinced that that's it, total party kill. I'm killing them all. I don't know why, but he's sure that that's going to happen. But, when you're dealing with... If I had an adult group, if I was gaming with an adult group, well, sure, we'll kill off the party. That you took the risk, you went into the cavern, the dungeon, whatever. You decided to fight the arch wizard, fine, that's your call. But with the kids, I kind of hold back. One of the actual challenges is less about them being kids, because with being kids also comes just boundless imagination, right? I mean, they just hop from one thing to another without question. There's no like, well, that doesn't make sense. They don't care. It makes sense to them. But one of the other challenges is less about them being kids and more about them being siblings. You know, there was a point at which, and as far as the videos are concerned, we're still at that point, because I'm filming now things that we played weeks ago, because it was a while before I decided to start making the videos, and I can really only do about one a week, so by the time I catch up. They had gotten magic swords. Both Fleetwood and Touchberry had magic swords. And Bob Johnny didn't have a magic weapon, and he was not happy about that. He had the Ring of Animal Control, but, you know, a ring isn't a magic weapon, right? You know, so he did finally get one, but so that was kind of an issue. You know, deal with the sibling thing more than the kid thing. The other question is, how do they find using different dice? It's no problem at all. The 6-year-old occasionally will grab the 8 when he means to grab a 10 or vice versa, but no more often than my wife does. So I have an advantage. My dice are different colors, so it's easy to tell which is which. But anyway, I probably would grab the wrong one too if they weren't. How much do you use figures in your games? You know, we didn't start with miniatures at all. It was just pure theater of the mind, because we were just starting out and I didn't know if they were going to like it. I'm not going out and buying, you know, $50 worth of miniatures. But as it went, first I decided I would get them miniatures of their characters, and I found some online, some really nice ones, that looked a lot like how they had described their characters. But between when I ordered them, and I was going to wait for a big adventure, some big bad, you know, the boss fight, to bring these things out and say, oh, by the way. In the meantime, though, they decided they wanted to get their own and asked to go to the local friendly game shop, which is the Hooded Goblin in our corner of the world. The Hooded Goblin, so props to the Hooded Goblin. Shout out to you guys there. So they wanted to go and get some miniatures of their own. So I took them there and they bought their own miniatures. So now we've started to play with those. And recently more so as I've begun inching toward using terrain, doing some terrain builds. I've been watching a lot of Black Magic Craft and Terrain Made Easy and people like that. And so I'm starting to dabble in that kind of thing. Again, the videos are behind. As of the videos, all I was doing was taking the map that I had drawn on graph paper and then enlarging it up to 17 by 11 paper, blowing up the squares as big as I could, and actually just taking a section of the map and blowing it up as big as I could so that it would match the miniature. But we're creeping toward using terrain. I don't want to do too much of that, though, because the theater of the mind thing is still a lot of fun. A question connected to the question about using figures in the game is where I got them. Again, I'll put the link down below. I can't remember the name of the site right now, but it was a British website shop that I bought them from, and they've got a great selection. And it was worth the wait because, you know, the shipping. It was worth the wait, though, because you don't find metal miniatures around very much anymore. You really just don't. There was a question here about the hesitancy about character death and if we lose any sense of danger, but I addressed that earlier. Sort of connected to the question about the miniatures, do you show them pictures of the monsters from the game? Yes, I do. In fact, most of the pictures that I use in these videos, I have shown them on the day of the game. A few exceptions. Obviously, the lizard men, you're not scaring me anymore. I'm not falling for it. I'm sorry. Just stop. Except for the lizard men, most of the pictures that I use during here are things that I show them during the game. Interestingly, when they were fighting bugbears, I showed them a picture of the old TSR figure. The old figure from back in the day. You remember from the 1980s? That guy, right? And I mentioned, I think it was in a comment. I don't know if it was in a comment or a video. I don't remember now, or if it was on Facebook or what. I mentioned that I was looking for one of these guys. And then one showed up in the mail. There was no name on it. There was no indication who it came from. So, thanks, whoever you are. I feel like I should know who the historical bust is of. This guy. Yeah, there's a question about you. Who the funk? No, I'm sorry. There's no question about you guys. Sorry. It goes on to say, I can't place him. Please put me out of my misery. I hate to tell you, he's not actually a historical figure that I know of. He's actually a chess piece. A big decorative chess piece. I suspect there were probably, 4 or 5 of these, different pieces, a knight, a bishop, a king, a rook, or whatever, a pawn. And they were, I don't know, for a department store display window. Yeah, they do that. Well, no, not to gawk at. Never mind. But he was at the local antique shop, and I saw him and thought he looked kind of cool. And, a bishop. I thought it'd be good to have a bishop in my office watching over me. Now he watches over this. And, well, he's got a bit of an attitude, doesn't he? Yeah, our actual bishop is not anywhere near as mouthy as this guy. Yeah. Somewhat connected to that, I take it you are actually a minister. Yes, I am. I'm an Anglican priest in the Anglican Church of Canada. I'm from the U.S. originally, where it would be called the Episcopal Church. So yeah, I am actually a priest. I have a parish and a full-time, ministry there. I film these on my lunch break, and I edit them on subsequent lunch breaks. So I film them one day, and then, subsequent days I edit. This is, again, connected to that. How do you deal with clerics in your game? Are they Christian, or is there the usual D&D, well, it says golf bag of gods, and I don't know if that means like pulling a different club out, or if it was a typo. That always happens to me on my phone and meant to be grab bag. So we don't really go into the religion that the clerics follow very deeply. We had a cleric in one game. My middle boy tried a cleric for our second adventure. And I could tell at the time that he was just sort of trying it on and looking for a character that fit. So we didn't invest a lot in it. He also, I think, told me that he was playing a different character about 10 minutes before the game. So we didn't have any time to investigate the background. We didn't go real deep into it then, and because he ditched the character after that for the halfling, we haven't since. Now, I did, when I made the village of Honeywood, right, when I invented the village, I just used a map of the real village that our church is located in, the parish church. And so the roads are all laid out the same, and I did that because I wanted the boys to have an easy touchstone for spatial relationships. The church is there, the pub is there, the town hall is there, and all that kind of stuff. I wanted it to be easy to navigate, so I used an actual place. But because of that, I think they do assume that the church is the church and that they are Christian. Marnock, who is a historical figure in our campaign, is an actual Christian saint. He lived in what is now Scotland. So there is some sense that maybe the clerics are Christian. We don't go into it terribly deeply, is the short answer to the question. Are you finding that your kids are enjoying BECMI, and do they ask about other systems? They are enjoying it, although really I think what they're enjoying is getting together as a whole family and playing a game with Mama and Papa. And, I think that's what they're enjoying. But they do enjoy the game itself. My eldest has asked about 5th edition and actually bought himself the player's manual because in our area, any group that's going to get together, other than our family, to play is probably going to be playing 5th edition. And he's very keen to join another group somewhere, I think just so that he can game with people who aren't his brothers. See also the sibling rivalry issue. So he's interested in that, and he does see the cool things in both systems. 5th edition has so much more material. The BECMI, the whole thing was to be simple, stripped down just the basics, right? 5th edition is just overwhelming amounts of detail, and he likes that. He's an 11-year-old boy, and 11-year-old boys can obsess endlessly about details, right? So he does enjoy that. And I can see the cool stuff in 5th edition, too. I have to admit, I look at that character sheet for 5th edition, and my head swims. There's just too many little boxes to fill. I'm too old. I don't suppose there's any chance of Bargle appearing as a baddie. Don't you? Someone has to avenge our beloved Alina. I'm sorry. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. No, really, he's a cool bad guy, right? So, actually, partly because of that question, there is an adventure currently, maybe 2 or 3 down the line, brewing away where, Bargle might put in an appearance. And finally, where did you get that awesome mug? The answer is Teespring. I will include a link in the description below. I did not make this in order to, sell any merch. I made it because I wanted it for myself, and I thought the best way to do it was just to go on Teespring and make it and order one. But I will put the link in the description below in case you too want to drink out of my head with a dice on it. Well, that's all I've got today. If I missed your question, it's because I missed it in the comments. I'm very sorry. Do ask it again, and I'll get to it both in the comments and next time we have a question and answer.